Hello YouTube, here we have a beautiful Singer 99K sewing machine. It was built in the 1950s. It was in my wife's family for many years but sat unused. My wife asked me to get it together and get it working, and so I did, and so I got it working, and I wanted to share with you what I learned about this machine in case it might help you as well. Okay, first of all, the bobbin. The bobbin on this machine is very specific. It needs to be a class 66 bobbin, and it's Singer part number 172222. At first I tried the wrong bobbin, a bobbin that looked like this from another machine. As you can see, this has a flat top and some ridges up top, and that caused a lot of problems on this machine. In fact, it doesn't work at all. But if you get the correct bobbin, you'll get something that looks like this. As you can see, it has a very smooth top, and it also, if you can kind of see very carefully, the top is curved. It's almost like a mushroom. It's slightly curved, and that is the proper bobbin for this machine. You could also get that same bobbin in plastic, and you can see the mushroom shape, top and bottom. However, I wouldn't recommend it. Why? This machine is solid metal. This is an unbelievably solid machine. Every piece of this machine is made out of metal. Unlike today, where a lot of machines are made out of plastic and have plastic parts. So why introduce plastic? I think this is really bad. I would not use that. Use the metal bobbin class 66. Okay, so let's start winding. The first thing you'd want to do is put the bobbin on the bobbin take-up axis here, and you want to push it in. There's a little nub over here, as you can see, and you want to get the bobbin into the little nub, like that, and then pull down the take-up lever as such, and that gets the bobbin firmly in place. Next thing you want to do is, as you see in the side, there's along the wheel, there's a inner wheel. You want to release the inner wheel, and there we go, it's already been released. I released the inner wheel, and so you turn it to the left, and what that does is it prevents the needle from moving up and down as we wind the bobbin. Okay, and this is how we thread it. We take the thread and we pull it around this eyelet over here, and then there's a Z-like contraption here. We pull it first in the lower part of the Z, and then we wind it up the upper part of the Z. I will get a close-up of that a little later. And that gives a little tension on this. And then you thread the thread through the bobbin as such. And then you hang on to the bobbin as you press the power foot pedal, and this should wind. So let's check it out. Give you a little close-up here, and here we go. All right, looks really good. Let's do a close-up just so you can see all the various parts on how we thread it. Here is the thread, and it's going around the hook over here, and this is the Z part, and I just sent it around the lower one, and then up through the top one, and that gives it a little tension, and then I put it on the bobbin. I held it, pressed the foot pedal, and off it goes. So that's how to wind the bobbin. It works really well. Let's take some scissors, cut the thread, lift the lever, take off the bobbin, and let's remember to tighten the inner wheel. So now the needle will move. Okay, so once we have it, the bobbin wound, let's see where we place it. Okay. So you slide open this metal door, and let me just zoom in a little bit more for you. And you're going to see a metal cylinder. The cylinder is where you're going to put the bobbin, and the thread is going to come out from the bottom, and you want the thread to come out the bottom and the thread to come to the left. Okay, so you just have it that way, and then you just pop it in. Now, how do you thread it? If you look carefully, you will see two notches. One notch over here and another notch over here. You're going to thread the thread through one notch and out the other notch. Now that's kind of hard to see, so I've created a diagram here, or I think it'll be a little bit easier. As you can see, here's the thread, and it's going to come out the bottom to the left. It's going to go through one notch in between this metal plate and this metal plate, and then out the other notch and exit out. So that's what it's going to look like. So I will do that right now. Here, let's get a close up. So it's going to go in one notch and out the other notch. There we go. And once you've done that, just slide the plate closed with the thread through the notch, and you could pull it out, and there you have the bobbin thread. Okay, let me show you how to thread the machine. Take the thread from the spool, and the first thing you do is you go around a little hook on the side of the machine. Then what you do is you pass the thread between two metal discs that you'll see, and you go all the way around, and you bring the thread beyond the end of a piece of wire that you'll see. That's a spring. You then put the thread on the inside part of that wire and bring the thread down as such. What you then do is pass the thread through this goose head, not through the hole, but just around the neck of the goose, and you bring the thread up. Then you pass the thread through a hole in the top of the machine, the lever, take-up lever, and then you pass the thread through an eyelet in the front of the machine, as such. Then you pass the thread through a slot that's underneath that eyelet, and then you put the thread through the needle from the left to the right. Let's go over that path one more time now that it's threaded. You're going to take the thread and you're first going to put it through this little hook at the top of the machine. Then you're going to bring it through this disc on the right side in between the two metal discs. Then you're going to bring the thread all the way around until it's beyond this little metal wire here, which is the spring. Then you're going to put the thread on the inside part of that wire and bring the thread all the way down and around the neck of the goose. The thread is then going to go up through the hole here in the take-up lever. It's then going to go down through an eyelet in the front of the machine, down through a slot in the front machine, and then it's going to pass through the eye of the needle from left to right. Okay, now let's grab the bobbin thread. Here's the bobbin thread, and here is the thread from the spool. And I'm going to put the thread from the spool underneath the presser foot, through the presser feet, and I'm going to now hold it with my fingers, and then I'm going to crank the wheel towards me while holding the thread firm. And as you can see, the needle will come down, and hopefully it's grabbing the bobbin thread. And I have the presser foot in the up position for this. And up, I think it grabbed it. And what I can do now is take the one end of the thread from the needle and the other end from the thread of the needle. I could just pull it towards me, and as you can see, the bobbin thread is caught with it, and it will be dragged through. And now I could just grab it, and I have the bobbin thread, except that is, notice how it's coming through that hole in the machine rather than out from that slot over here. So now it is threaded, and then I could take the thread from the spool, put it through the presser feet, and pull that back, and I should be ready to sew. Let's see. Oh, one other thing is this wheel, the base setting is between 3 and 4 on the tension wheel. And over here, this is for the length of the stitch. I have it on 8, which is sort of a base setting. You turn this and you can lift it, and you could turn it to 30, which would be a really small stitch, or 6, which is a very big stitch. But I have it on 8, and I tighten it. And when you press it up, you're going to go reverse. And then when you leave it down, it'll be on 8, and you go forward. And that way it always kind of locks in the right position. Okay, let's try sewing. Here's a black mask, which is sign of the times. And we're just gonna put it underneath the presser foot. We're gonna drop it and press the foot pedal and see what happens. All right, let's see. This looks really nice. All right, and we got a nice stitch through the mask on both sides. Looks really good. Let's talk about maintenance on the Singer 99K. This machine likes to be oiled. It sounds much better when there's a drop of oil placed on various parts, and let's go over where you should oil this machine. Inside the bobbin case, you'll see this red piece of fluff. Don't throw it away thinking it's lint or something. It's actually a place where you should put a drop of oil, and it helps oil some parts that are inside it. So 1 drop of oil on that red felt. Inside this case, you'll see various moving parts. And if two pieces of metal are moving against each other, put a drop of oil against it. In a second, I'll show you what it looks like inside there. Now also on top of the machine, you'll see various holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are at least 6 holes that I could see. And you put a drop of oil inside each hole. The machine really likes oil, and it sounds very good when it has oil, and when it does not have enough oil, it does not sound as good. Here is the manual in terms of where to oil it. I will show it to you, and you can pause the video to read the instructions. And here is what the inside of this front panel looks like, and you can see the various parts. And again, if there are two pieces of metal moving against each other, I suggest oil. And here again is the instructions. These little arrows point to where you should oil. There's another page here, and you could again pause the video and read the manual. This is the bottom of the machine, and this is the bobbin area with the red fluff area. In terms of what oil to use, I use this type of oil. It seems to work very well. It's Zoom Spout Oiler, and this is the basic kind. What's great about this, it has a very long neck that you could use to put oil precisely in the right locations. They make a version of this oil specifically for sewing machines. I don't have it, but I just use the regular oil, Zoom Spout oil, and it seems to work really well. In terms of maintenance, we talked a little bit about the bobbin, but I also want to talk about the needle. The needle on this machine is a 15x1 needle or a 130/705H needle. And the needle is flat fitted to the right, and you want to thread from left to right. And again, we talked already about the bobbin, class 66. Two other parts that I replaced on this machine is first, I replaced the belt. The belt was completely broken when I got the machine, and you can see the belt over here that connects the motor. This motor is off to the side to the wheel, and the belt is a Singer part 193077, and its length is 15 3/8 of an inch. So I put a new belt, and you have to be careful with the tension. Too little or too tight won't work very well, so you have to get it just right. And through experimentation, you could find the right position. Next thing I also did is where I replaced the light bulb on this machine. The light bulb didn't work, and it was an incandescent light bulb, and I figured it would get really hot, so I instead replaced it with an LED bulb, and it works really well. It's very bright, and it gives you a lot of nice light. The light bulb that I used is a screw-in style light bulb. It is a 5/8 inch base and 120 volts, and it is a 3-watt bulb. That 3-watt bulb is equivalent of probably a 30 to 40 watt light bulb. Let me show you what it looks like. The old traditional light bulb will look something like this, and it's a 15-watt bulb, and again a 3/8 inch base. So that's what was, I mean, this is a little bit big, it's much smaller. But that's what it used to look like, and I replaced it with an LED bulb that looks like that. Again, the screw-in base, and a bunch of these LED modules inside here. And what's really nice about this is it's brighter and it's much cooler. So that was the maintenance that I did on this machine, and I really like it. It works very well. So if you have one of these machines, I suggest getting it fixed up, because it's a really solid machine and it's compact size, and I think it should be a lot of fun. So that's all I have, and happy sewing on your Singer 99K.